Welcome to Post-Burnout.com interviews. My name is Aaron Kavanagh and I'm the website's founder and editor-in-chief. Post-Burnout.com is a culture website dedicated to venerating burnt-out artists the world over. Our interviews are mainly recorded to be transcribed, but every now and again we release the audio in a series we call Post-Burnout.com interviews. If you enjoy what we do, be sure to subscribe. In this edition of Post-Burnout.com interviews, we speak with rapper and producer Jaq Reidy. We talk about his new debut EP, 3 to 11, the Dante-inspired concept behind it, his live series Jaq's World, upping the ante as a producer in the era where everybody is self-producing, his new collective Soul Temp, the Dublin hip-hop scene, and more. Yeah, so it's just the first thing I'll ask is just how you got into music yourself and what kind of influenced you.
I got into music at 16 when I got my first laptop. I started making beats on GarageBand and then FL. And I kind of wanted to be a producer. And then the more people, the less I didn't know any rappers or any singers or anything. So I just was like, I'll do it myself. And I started rapping at about 17. And then COVID hit, which is a lot of people like that. But COVID hit, and then I was like, yeah, I might as well just put out more music. And I met Victor and Roshin and all these people, and then I kind of just kept it going since then. So I wanted to be a producer, didn't know anybody, so I started rapping.
So that's interesting. So like normally it's the other way. So like someone wants to become a musician first and then gets into the production side. For you, it's the opposite. Is that the case?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
I loved making. I like sample a lot, and I was just getting into that more and more. And I was like, yeah, might as well just make beats for people. And then
Yeah.
everybody makes, like, my DJ says, there are so many beats in the world, but not enough people who can rap on them. And I
Yeah.
was like, that's so fair. Yeah.
So now that I guess kind of everyone is sort of self-producing, does that kind of give you a bit of a flame to try and, stay on top of your game and go, okay, I need to be able to add something more than what the average person could do on FL or something like that?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like
Yeah.
I even, like, a lot of people self-produce because they think, like, oh, it's like they can do it themselves, which is very impressive. But I don't know. I like working with people. Like, I have a group that I'm starting that's mainly producers, and then like three or four like people who can get on the songs. And I don't know, I like seeing other people's perspectives and like see what they do and then see what I do, and like we made some really weird stuff. Like, we made a whole beat with like one single, like, it was like a car horn, but
Yeah.
we took like a split second from that, stretched it out to fuck, and it was just it's the weirdest thing we've ever made. But like, yeah, no, I definitely try to challenge myself with, especially with like I've been trying out more melodies. I've been finding samples that aren't like typical. Like, I'll go to like deep dive. Like, I used to deep dive before, but now I'm like, oh, I might be watching an instructional video on like making a sandwich, and then I'm gonna say something, and I'll go, yeah, I'll take that, and then just work with that or something. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, just even before that, before you started producing yourself, I mean, what were you listening to that kind of like gave you the kind of influence to make you kind of go, I want to get into this?
I was listening to a lot of Tribe Called Quest.
Okay.
I love a Tribe Called Quest. A lot of Kanye West. I don't listen to him anymore though, because he's just, I can't defend him anymore.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, done with it. Uh, I'd say everything changed when I got into Tyler the Creator.
Mhm.
Like, him and ASAP Rocky, their production styles are very like out there and different. So like, I definitely try to approach it like how I imagine Tyler approaches it, but then it ends up sounding like ASAP Rocky production. So I like the kind of mix of the both. And but with my rapping, when I started rapping, um, Joey Badass was the one that like kind of made me like I was listening to a lot of SoundCloud stuff before, and then I got more into rap, and then I was listening to Joey Badass, and then Survival Tactics and that whole 1999 mixtape just really just spoke to me so much that I was like, yeah, I just need to be more lyrical and like actually make my words mean something. Like,
Yeah, so you were talking about this kind of collective of producers you kind of got kind of boiling. Yeah, I was just wondering, like, I think like the kind of collective is sort of a new interesting alternative, I guess, to the kind of traditional label route,
yeah,
where it's like it seems very organic and very grassroots, where it's just a bunch of people who are trying to create interesting art in, kind of it almost seems like a union in a way. I was just wondering what your opinions on that is.
yeah, it's I've always wanted a collective or a duo or something because like I don't know, I'm not as much anymore, but I used to be very like shy and like insecure and awkward and shit. And I was kind of like the thing that put me off rapping the most was like I'm probably gonna have to do this by myself and like get up on stage by myself. And I always wanted like somebody with me.
Mhm.
And the more I thought, like the more I did it myself, and I was like, oh, I can do this. And the more people I met, I was kind of like, yeah, I could fully like do this by myself. Like I'm fully confident. Like I don't need any other producer. I don't need any other, features or anything. I could do this myself. But it was just, I don't know, it was just the collective aspect when I met more people and was like, oh, I trust these people. Oh, I'd like him in this. Like it kind of came together as like almost like a family. Like the collective really just came together when Hannett, he's like my right hand man, my number one producer guy. He's been with me since like my first song on Spotify, and he had a 2 weeks. His parents were gone to Thailand for 2 weeks, and I just stayed in his house, and we just made music, and he'd invite a bunch of people over who could make music and shit, and like it was before Jack's World 2, and we were like, oh, like we should make a group. Like, and then he was like, oh, I know these two guys. I was like, I know these two guys. And then we just brought it together and we're like, yeah, like it felt like a family. We went to, like they'd come over and then we'd have dinner, and it felt like, we were just being like we were just joking around and laughing and making music and getting silly as fuck.
You mentioned that you mentioned Jack's World there. I mean, maybe if you could just talk a little bit about that. So that was kind of the live production, right?
That was the live. Yeah, we were that came about with I didn't come up with a name. I'm not narcissistic like that. That's crazy. But it was Emmanuel Chucks, who's my manager. That guy, he's a genius. He is fucking insane with like he's always on top of his stuff, and he's always like very professional. And I did the open mic with Victor, that Vision Lab open mic, and I really wanted to perform again. And like a lot of my friends are like, "Oh, when are you doing your own show? Like, I'd love to see your own show." And I was like, "Yeah, why not? I'll just send a bunch of emails." And I sent an email to maybe as many venues as I could, like, and then what is it? Soundhouse was the only one that got back to me after. And like to be fair to them, like I wasn't known at the time. I'd done one like half of one song,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Yeah, okay, just as long as you get everything organized, we'll give you the venue for a renting price." And I was like, "Yeah, grand." And I don't know, we just like Emmanuel was like, "Call it Jack's World," and I was like, "Okay." Like this is your thing. You're gonna do this and this and this, and then we got a bunch of songs done and we did it, and like we sold like over 100, and I was like, wow, for my first gig, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then the last one we did, the second Jack's World, was incredibly stressful. We had a live drummer, everything was going wrong. Then by the end, we were like, great, we're done. Like, thank God, let's not do another of them for a while. But yeah, no, I loved I really wanted to perform, so I was just like, let me just do it myself. It
Yeah.
was kind of like the same thing with like me starting to rap. I was like, I could wait for somebody to come along and be like, oh, I could use your beats, or I could just be like, I'll do it myself.
Right.
And yeah, and I feel like Emmanuel and I are that's kind of our main thing that we bond over, is the fact that, we know a lot of people that like they wait around for, they make music and music and they're really talented, but they wait around and they don't like want to do stuff, or they make a bunch of songs and they don't want to put it out until like they're big enough for some
Yeah.
reason. And we're just like, we don't care. We want to just show you what we made. We proud of this. We want to show you this. We want to perform live. We want to do this. Like, we want to make clothes. We'll make clothes and then give you the clothes. Like, we don't want to mess around. We don't have time to mess around.
Sure. And then, also, I mean, like when you're doing the live stuff, it's like, again, because you're talking about bills that could have like 5 people on them or something, right? So it's like, you want to kind of, I think that in a way that like you were talking about, like working with different producers kind of once makes you want to kind of up your production game and stay on top and keep that flame alive. I think simultaneously, I mean, like when it comes to live, you're like looking at people and you're going, shit, like this is what this person's doing. This, it's just, it's not even like a conscious thing, I don't think. Like, I think you just kind of like, just by watching the show, you kind of go, "Oh, that's fucking cool," or "That's like I'm going to take that," or "I'm going to take aspects of that." Do you think it's I guess, important to stay active in the live scene?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, I went to, like, if you don't do that, like, you're just gonna be stuck in like, it's gonna be the same old thing. You're just gonna be like, oh, we did that last time, let's just do it again.
Yeah.
Because I went to Ahmed with Love.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to their Halloween gig, and I don't know, it was just so fun, and they were like messing around and doing like, I think they played like a Avril Lavigne song at the end of their sets, and I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. And because of that, we made like, Victor and I were playing this workman's gig. I was supporting, he was one of the main acts, and I made a remix to Party in the USA, and I was like, let's rap over this. Like, it's fine. Like, it's not Jack's World. Like, who cares? Like, let's just do it. And then he was down for it, and it was just so fun to us. But and then like, the other day I saw the Hot Eight brass band, and the way they were using like the drums was just very, like, I don't know, like the guy was interacting with the drummer a lot. That kind of gave me ideas for the next Jack's World if I use a drummer, and I was like, this is crazy. Or like live instruments. I don't know. I like watching like rather than like rappers and DJ sets, I prefer watching the live instrument ones to get ideas for like how they up their production. Like, there was a sliding guitar in one of my friends. I think he was doing he's a session musician, so he was doing a gig with this guy, and he was playing slide guitar, and I was like, wow, okay, this is like, oh, okay, I like his sounds here, I
Yeah.
like his sounds there. Oh, he's using a saxophone here, okay. Like, it's better to, I'd say, if you want to just see how all the other rappers are doing, like, go to their shows. But I would suggest going to live music events, like with instruments and stuff, because it was the same with, after I got into production and rapping, I found myself listening to less rap and more like soul music, like jazz, pop, rock, like stuff with higher production value. Because like, I like rap, but like a lot of the time it could be just a beat made by some guy, and then like, it's just rap bars.
Yeah.
Whereas with the soul music, it's like different bridges, and like, this part goes this way and this part goes that way, and it's funky bass line. It's crazy.
That's another thing. I've talked to other producers about. It's like, do you think it's important for people who want to get into production to have a kind of foundation in not only musical versatility in terms of different genres and stuff like that, but simultaneously also music history? I mean, kind of going like, okay, what were people doing in the '60s? What were people doing in the '70s? You know what I mean?
I'd say to get into it, not really, but when you keep doing it, like to progress to become a better producer, I'd say you need those things. Because like when I started, I was just listening to like old New York Wu-Tang Clan stuff, and I was on GarageBand, like playing doing beat boop on my computer. But like now I'm like I listen to I listen to genres and I listen to like decades of music, and I like to see, like I've learned more about music theory by just talking to people and meeting people and like interacting with how seeing how people do certain things, and then taking that information and put it in my own beats and trying it out with like other stuff. So I'd say if you want to get into it, you don't need like strong musical background or like music theory, or but like you do need to learn it while you're doing it, so then you can like become a better musician and producer.
Is that fun? Do you enjoy doing that, or does it feel like homework and just something you have to do for the job?
No, it doesn't feel like homework. It's definitely great fun. I love doing it. Because I don't know, I just, even with like learning history about music, you kind of learn like fun facts about your favorite artists, and you're like, oh shit, okay, I didn't know they were doing that, and like,
Yeah,
oh wow, that's actually a separate sound done by this person, and you're like, it's fun if you like. I guess if you don't love the music, it can feel like homework, or if you're not trying to do that and you're just trying to like make a song to get big,
yeah,
like it can feel like homework. But like I don't really hang out with people who are just trying to get big.
yeah.
Like we live in Ireland. Like there's no way to get big unless Ireland gets big for music,
Yeah,
we'd have to move to England or America to get big. So like right now, I just like people who are doing it solely because they love it. And like if you do that solely because you love it, I don't think you could see it as homework at all.
yeah. Yeah, and I just want to talk actually brief about your music then. I find that when I listen to it, it's very like very bombastic, but very fun. You know what I mean? It's very like I don't know. It's just kind of joyous. I don't know. It's like yeah. I was wondering what you think.
Yeah, I the reason it's like that, because if you heard my older stuff, it was very depressing. But it was because of like I don't know, I used to make like sad loner music. I still kind of do, but like it's not out yet. But I don't know. I like my friends are like, "Oh, Jack, like you gotta be making stuff that like can get turned up in the club, whatever." And I was like, "Okay, you know what? I made this 10 song mixtape on SoundCloud. Let me just do something completely different." And I started making. I met Kilte, who's my DJ. He mixes and masters everything. And I started making like, I made Broke, I made Tony Danza, like hype kind of like, but like dancing kind of music, like a mixture of like, East and Broker kind of stuff you can dance to, Tony Danza, and like a couple other songs that I've been putting out, Blue on Blue as well. I kind of just in your face, like get rowdy. And I just kind of done like a bunch of songs like those and made them into like an EP that I kind of want. It's like a just club music. It's just
Yeah,
club music or aggressive music, and it's just music to like get turn at a party.
yeah, yeah.
Break a window at a fucking bank or something. I don't know.
You look back at kind of the older music and sort of go like, oh, that's something you want to distance yourself from, or you're like, no, it's on my portfolio. It's part of me.
I don't want to distance myself from my older music, but I do. I would have preferred to have put it out. Like it would have still been on my Spotify if I had gotten it properly mixed and mastered. Because
Yeah,
listening to my music now and listening back, it's hard to listen to because I'm like I can barely hear myself, or it's like it's clicking at parts, and I'm just like, no, 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 this is awful. But then I listen to the beats, and I'm like, wow, I was so much better at making beats. I was getting way weirder with it back then. But yeah, no, I definitely don't want to distance myself from it. Like I might even get them remixed and remastered and like put them out again. But I definitely don't. I definitely want to keep like after this EP comes out, I definitely want to start making music like that, like my past music before, and like just be honest and kind of slower, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, so tell us about the EP then. What's the
Oh,
plans for release?
oh shit. Okay. It's it was supposed to be one of three, but I decided to scrap that idea. But it's called 3 to 11, and it is a. I was working in Circle K at the time when I came up with the idea, and I'd always be put on a 3 to 11 shift, like Saturday, Sunday, and I'd usually after the 3 to 11 shift, I'd go out clubbing. Then I like after I'm finished, I get on the 133 and head to the fucking academy or something.
Mhm.
But I just I just started doing that more and more, and I found myself exhausted. But I was like, you know what, like I was listening to music and I was like, I should make music like this. Like I should make something like people just push each other in mosh pits or like start dancing with each other. So I thought of 3 to 11, and it was supposed to be one of three parts because I was gonna do like the hype music is 3 to 11, and that was gonna be like it kind of feels like hell. So it's
Mhm.
gonna be Inferno, and then I was gonna call the next one 7 to 3, and that was gonna be like confusing, kind of distorted, psychedelic. It was gonna be Purgatorio, and then the last one was gonna be soulful and like kind of heavenly, and that one was gonna be Paradiso, like
Yeah,
Dante's.
yeah, Dante's Fine Comedy. Yep.
Yeah, but I just really like that idea, and then I made 3 to 11. I went, I kind of like it on its own.
Yeah,
So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna put this out. But it comes out on the 23rd of June. So
perfect.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I have a video for Broke also coming out, which will be like just something in between now and the EP release.
Yeah, that's sick, man. And so you have this like idea of like concepts like this like something like I think is really cool. I mean, like I think it's interesting in kind of the era of kind of quick like TikToks and quick like attention grabbing things that people are still it's sort of become a bit of a common motif. I've been talking to a lot of people, like a lot of different musicians lately, and it seems to be like the conceptual EP and the conceptual album seems to be kind of making somewhat of a resurgence. I was wondering what your thoughts on that are.
Oh yeah, I love concepts for like I don't understand. Maybe it's just my brain's wired a different, but I don't understand how you can just like throw a bunch of songs together and then be like, yeah,
Hmm.
like I guess if they sound similar, but like even like that Silk Sonic, for example, it wasn't a concept album, but they had a running theme
Hmm.
that like they all sounded the same, they all kind of flowed together. So it's like, even I've listened to people's projects that have been like one song sounds like this, one song sounds completely different, and then one song sounds like this, or they all sound the same, and like there's no concept or depth. It's all just very shallow, and they're just
Yeah,
putting out music.
it feels like a compilation kind of.
Yeah, exactly. It's not really, it's like Mac DeMarco just putting out 8 hours worth of
Right.
music. Like it doesn't really feel like, I need something to latch onto. Like, but yeah, because one of my favorite albums is Deltron 3030, which is Del the Funky Homo Sapien did a album that was like he was a space wizard
Yeah.
and he was fighting off robots, but it's still just like the craziest album to me. And I was like, yeah, definitely. Let's go. Like, I love that. So
Yeah.
yeah, like
Well, it
I
shows
love
you how freaky you can get with it too. Like it doesn't,
yeah.
concept doesn't have to be like, Tolstoy or something, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It just needs to be like, a concept. Even if you want to tell a story where you're just, walking down the shops and then something happens and then you walk back home and then like, it doesn't have to be about like crazy interactive or like crazy thought provoking. I just want something like
Yeah.
it kind of shows that you've been thinking about it more than you've just been making a bunch of music and then putting it out in like an and calling it an album. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense to me.
Yeah. Would you consider working kind of, I guess, contractually as a producer? Would you like do work for other people who you have absolutely no involvement with or no prior knowledge with if they felt that your production suited them or anything?
Oh yeah, I like. Do I get to meet? Oh, sorry, I know it's a hypothetical, but like, I
Yeah,
get to be with these people in the room and like,
you get to be in the recording studio with
oh
them.
yeah, 100%. Like I hang out. Like I love working with anybody. Like I've been. There's this guy, I love you, ILY Alexander. I haven't met him before. Like I met him once on the street passing by, but before that, like I had no knowledge of him. He just came up on my TikTok, and like he was just I was walking down the street. He goes, Jack, oh my God. I was like, you free to work? He's like, yeah, of course. Like I'll produce for anyone. Like I think my beats are solid. Like if I could rap as good as I make beats, like the game would be over.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they're a bit unorthodox in it, but if you're willing to work with me and then I make something for you, like it would come out crazy. Like I definitely would love to work with more people, just like production wise. Like I don't even have to get on the song. I'd love to produce for people.
Well, how much give and pull do you think there is? So if an artist is like, this is their song, and you as a producer go, but I think you need this aspect, and they're like, well, we don't know. Like, if you're saying like, oh, maybe you could throw in this sample here, and they're like, I don't know about that. Like, how much kind of give and take do you kind of?
I don't like if it's a person. I love to. Oh, I don't. I think that a lot of people like don't know the difference between like personal preference and constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Like I will suggest stuff and be like, oh, it needs something or it's missing something. But if I like the song and I'm just like, oh, I would have loved like personally, I would have done this. Like I kind of like bite my tongue with that kind of stuff because I'm
Hmm.
like, that's it's not my song. It's like their song. It's their idea. But if I'm like, the song's great, it just needs something like that or oh the kick isn't hitting hard enough here or something like that, like something that'll elevate the song, like their idea further. I definitely would like tell them that, like I just give them like I just want to be make sure that their vision is great, but then my own vision I'll try in my own music
Yeah.
or do this. Yeah.
So if I'm understanding correct, so you do enjoy the collaborative process of producing, but you're respectful of the boundaries of the artist.
Yeah, of course. Like a lot of people tell me, well, actually, not a lot of people. If a lot of a lot of people, I don't know what it is, but a lot of people in the studio, they just kind of let me do whatever, and then they're like, "Yeah, I'll hop on this," and I went, "What the hell?" I haven't even fucking done anything yet. I put a kick and a snare, dude. Already getting on the song, but like, yeah, no. If somebody were like, if I showed somebody something and they were like, "Oh, like I don't like how you said that word,"
Mhm.
or like I don't like how you said it in that way. And I was like, oh, like, okay, but like, do you understand that I'm using it in a context? But like, no, I think you should have done it like, but like, I respect other people's boundaries with their artistic vision because I'm not in their head. But then, if they need like advice for like production or even like a couple lines in their song, I'm fully down to help them do that. Like, but I still will respect their vision and ideas.
Perfect, man. Is there anything like that before we wrap up? Maybe just tell us what you have planned. Obviously, the EP is coming out.
Yeah. EP's coming out. I be on the lookout for my new group that's gonna hopefully drop
Mhm.
this year. We're called Soul Temp. It's SOULTEMP.
Yeah, I saw that on the Spotify that was listed under the yeah.
Yeah, Soul Temp. And I hopefully like if any venues are looking for a rapper, I'm your boy.
Actually, just before we wrap, let's just talk a little bit about Soul Temp. So, how can people get involved if they're interested? Are you guys like, are you just close knit? You're like, no, we're not taking applications.
Oh no, like if anyone wants to audition for Soul Temp, they can. Like, but they gotta bring something different to the table because we already got me, Panet, Kilte, Michael, who make beats. Samuel sing. We might look for like musicians, instrumentalists, guitarists, piano players, drummers, maybe. You know, if you want to join, like contact me or contact Panet. And if you want us to produce for you, would be fully down because that was the main kind of the initial idea was I wanted to make a production super group. And then I realized like everyone produces in their own name, so it'd be kind of hard.
Yeah.
If you want to hit us up to produce for you or produce like, a couple songs for you, we'll be fully down for that
You
100%.
you guys do distribution too. Is that correct?
Sorry?
You guys do distribution too of the music?
Uh I think no. I just
Okay.
I just put it down as Soul Temp Production.
Okay.
We could distribute the song if you want it on the Soul Temp page, but
Yeah.
we'll have to get into that more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much for your time, man. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you for listening to that episode of Post-Burnout.com interviews. We hope you enjoyed and stay tuned for more.